Good morning and welcome to Issues on the Point. I'm your host, Jordan Canigliaro. We've heard it before. It's never too early to learn how to manage money, whether it's starting a savings account or learning about a 401k or planning for college. Industry experts agree financial education should start sooner than later. This morning we welcome in Roy Paul. He's the executive director of Sensibility. Roy, thanks so much for being with us. So your organization actually started when two industry experts realized they needed some help managing their own money.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. The two co-founders, Alexa DuPont Bell and John Moore, Alexa is a member of the DuPont family, and they were both students at Harvard Business School. And despite their personal and educational resources, they were both having personal finance challenges. And so they turned to each other one day and said, look, we've got a wealth of resources and connections, and we have issues. Can you imagine what other people would be dealing with, this particular young people from low-income communities? We might want to do something to give back, and that was really the concept behind Sensibility. It wasn't an organization then, but they started to sort of volunteer. Their friends would hear about what they were doing, and then they would tag along and go volunteer with them at different schools. And in 2004, they turned to themselves and they said, look, this is going really well. Why don't we actually incorporate this? So that's when we got our 501c3 status, and it wasn't until about 2008 when Societe Generale, the French bank that's headquartered in Paris, who has a New York office, said, look, we want to do something to give back. Corporate social responsibility, volunteer engagement for our employees, but we want to do something that aligns with our mission, right? We're a financial institution, so let's do something around financial education empowerment. They researched Sensibility, it was a perfect fit, and ever since then we've sort of been like their hub nonprofit that's been headquartered in their New York office to give financial literacy back to the community.
And once again this morning we're with Roy Paul from Sensibility, a nonprofit teaching teens about personal finance, and he brought with him today some great facts and figures about financial literacy here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's not a surprising statistic, as you would imagine, but unfortunately there are many states, not just Pennsylvania. I don't want to make people in Pennsylvania feel horrible about the news, but it's not mandated here in the state of Pennsylvania. The state legislators have the ability to, of course, mandate what goes into the curriculum with the local state education department. Only 15% of school districts in the state have financial literacy ingrained in their curriculum, and that's troublesome for obvious reasons. You know, you have the vast majority of youngsters in the state who don't get access to financial literacy education. So when it comes to things like, you know, credit card scores and what that means for your future, you know, we service a very low-income community. And so a lot of our participants, their idea of a financial institution is a check cashing place, right? Because they go to, you know, their moms and dad get their paycheck, they go to the check cashing place. They have a fear of banks. They look at them, and until you start rhyming off the names, you know, J.P. Morgan Chase, HSBC, you know, Bank of America, many young people can't connect the dots between those institutions and actually putting your money there. They go, wait a second, I wouldn't put my money there, right? You put it under your mattress, or you go to the check cashing place. But the principles that we teach at Sensibility are very basic in nature. So we really want the young people to understand that you can invest in the stock market, right? They think that you need to be a multi-millionaire to invest in it. The craziest things you would ever hear from young people about what they think about money, the markets, we try to debunk those myths.
And of course, student loans, such a huge issue for millions of Americans. What type of advice do you give to teens when you go into the schools?
Yeah, this is a sticking point for me because I have personal family members, I have friends who have suffered from this. And unfortunately, it is legal in this country. It should not be, but it is legal for private institutions and colleges to charge young people for the loans that they don't have a way of paying back, right? They come from a family of four, their parents are making $30,000, $40,000. And you have a private institution that'll say, yes, you know, we think that you're a budding prospect, and hopefully when you graduate you can get a job and pay this back. And they say, yeah, take up $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, you graduate with $100,000 in debt. Maybe you can get a job in this economy. It's more likely that you may not get one, certainly not sooner rather than later. And you're stuck saying, well, how am I going to pay all of this back? And I think it should be illegal for colleges to do this. But of course, a lot of people benefit on the backs of people who go and take loans out to go to school, because if they couldn't do it, maybe less people would not go to their institutions. But then people say, well, what do you want people to do? How do people go and get an education? And I say, well, you can still get an education, and if you have to take out loans, you can consider community colleges. They're real gateway schools that connect you to four-year institutions. And if you want to go to the private route, that's great. But there are some great public four-year colleges within the state or within another state that you can examine, and they're just as good, if not better, than some of the other schools that you can go to.
And I think one of the most important questions we can ask Roy today is how can schools here in Western PA tap into the free, and I reiterate, free resources that your organization provides?
Yeah, we like the word free, sensibility, right? It's something that we know attracts people to what we do. And so, if they contact us and they say, we would love to get your modules, we have 8 of them that cover a variety of different topics, and you can see that on our website, we will send them our modules for free, right? We have a 4-kit package for each module, and we'll just send it to you. No questions asked. You can incorporate it for your schools. Parents, if they want to utilize it for their students, we can give it to them, homeschool students, you name it. But there are maybe resources here. I know of one organization, NeighborWorks of Western PA. They're here in Pittsburgh, and they do financial literacy education as well. I'm actually going to meet with them after here because I want to get a sense of what they do, how they do it, see if there's any ways that we can work together. But I would say if you don't want to contact Sensibility, look at local organizations in your community that might be offering that.
And once again, we thank Roy Paul from sensibility.org, offering free financial advice and education to teens throughout school districts across the country and hopefully here in Pennsylvania as well. We thank him for being with us this morning. You can find more information at sensibility.org. More Issues on the Point continues after this.